There was a time when Buzz Lightyear believed he had a mission bigger than anyone else in the room. Before the friendship, before the heartbreak, before he understood what it meant to belong to someone. Buzz thought it was real. In Toy Story, Buzz arrives in Andy's room as the newest birthday present. Confident, heroic, and completely unaware that he's actually a toy. To the other toys, he's incredible. He has wings, laser, buttons, lights, everything Woody isn't. And almost immediately, Buzz becomes Andy's favorite. But what makes Buzz so interesting isn't just that he replaces Woody. It's that Buzz genuinely believes he's a real space ranger. To him, Andy's room is an alien planet. His cardboard box is a damaged spacecraft, and the toys around him are life forms he's trying to understand. While the others already know their purpose, Buzz is still living inside a fantasy. And for a while, that fantasy makes him unstoppable.
No. Buzz, look, an alien! Where? Ah!
Buzz doesn't even realize he's hurting Woody. That's what makes their conflict work so well. Woody sees Buzz as a threat, but Buzz sees Woody as someone strangely obsessed with being a toy.
You are a toy!
Meanwhile, Andy slowly starts choosing Buzz over Woody. And for the first time in years, Woody feels replaceable. But Buzz doesn't understand any of that emotional weight, because in his mind, he isn't competing for attention. He's trying to save the galaxy. That disconnect drives almost the entire first movie. Woody is fighting for identity. Buzz is fighting for a mission, and neither of them truly understands the other yet. Still, Buzz's confidence slowly turns into arrogance. He ignores Woody's warnings, mocks his understanding of reality, and genuinely believes he can fly. Then comes one of the most iconic moments in Pixar history. Buzz jumps. He bounces across the room, glides through the air, lands perfectly on the bed. And every toy stares at him in awe, except Woody, because Woody sees the truth before everyone else does.
Wasn't flying, that was falling with style.
At first, the line is a joke, but eventually it becomes the emotional core of Buzz's entire story.
You want a piece of me?
Sid's house changes everything. Up until this point, Buzz still believes Star Command will come for him, that he has a purpose bigger than being owned by a child. Then he sees the commercial. Rows of identical Buzz Lightyear toys, stacked on shelves, mass-produced, and suddenly everything he believed about himself collapses. He isn't special, he isn't unique, and nobody from Star Command is coming. He's just a toy. What makes this scene hit so hard is that Buzz loses more than confidence. He loses meaning. That's why the window scene feels devastating. Buzz isn't trying to fly because he's brave. He's trying to prove reality wrong. One final jump. One final chance to still be the hero he imagined himself to be. But instead, he crashes. His arm breaks off, and for the first time in the movie, Buzz gives up completely. The fearless space ranger disappears. All that's left is a broken toy drinking imaginary tea as Mrs. Nesbit.
I am Mrs. Nesbit.
This is where Woody finally saves Buzz, not physically, emotionally. For the first time, Buzz begins to understand something Woody knew from the beginning. Being a toy isn't a downgrade, it's a purpose. Buzz spent the entire movie trying to protect the galaxy. But Woody helps him realize something even bigger. Making a child happy matters more than saving the universe. That's why the shot of Andy's name on Buzz's foot matters so much, because Buzz finally understands what gives toys meaning. Not gadgets, not missions, not status, love. And once Buzz accepts who he really is, everything changes. The rivalry between him and Woody disappears almost instantly. Now they trust each other completely. Buzz risks himself to save Woody from Scud the dog. Woody risks everything to rescue Buzz from Sid's rocket. And together, they become the duo that would define Pixar for decades. But the most beautiful part of Buzz's arc comes at the very end. When the rocket sends them flying through the sky, Buzz finally does what he always dreamed of doing. Not because he ignored reality, because he accepted it first.
Hey, Buzz! You're flying!
This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
The same line that once mocked Buzz now defines him. Because Buzz's story was never really about becoming a hero. It was about learning that ordinary things can still mean everything to someone.
Take cover!
By the beginning of Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear is completely different from the toy we met in the first movie. He understands exactly what he is now, a toy. But interestingly, accepting reality didn't make Buzz smaller. It made him a leader. When Woody gets stolen by Al McWiggin, Buzz doesn't hesitate for even a second. He's going after him. And what's important here is that Buzz's motivation has completely changed. Back then, his mission was saving the galaxy. Now his mission is saving a friend. Throughout the movie, Buzz slowly starts becoming the exact kind of character Woody used to be. He organizes the rescue mission, keeps the group focused, takes responsibility for everyone's safety. At times, he even sounds like Woody. And honestly, the movie quietly shows how much Buzz learned from him. Because Woody taught Buzz something bigger than heroism, responsibility. Buzz now understands what it means to care about other toys the way Woody once cared about him.
Making delicious hot schmoes.
They're called s'mores, Buzz.
Then, Pixar does something brilliant. Buzz literally meets the old version of himself. Utility Belt Buzz represents everything Andy's Buzz used to be. Dramatic, overconfident, and completely disconnected from reality. For the first time, Buzz is forced to see how ridiculous he once sounded. And suddenly, their roles reverse. Buzz becomes the Woody of the situation. He tries explaining the truth. He tries telling the other Buzz he's just a toy. But the new Buzz reacts exactly the same way he once did. Denial, anger, confusion. Without directly saying it, Pixar shows us how far Buzz has come. But the emotional core of Toy Story 2 goes even deeper than that. Because the movie isn't really about adventure. It's about abandonment. Jessie fears being forgotten. Stinky Pete fears never being loved. Woody fears being thrown away someday. And Buzz becomes the character trying to pull Woody back from that fear. What makes this so powerful is that Buzz starts repeating Woody's own philosophy back to him.
You are a toy!
The toy who once rejected reality is now teaching someone else why being a toy matters. Buzz tells Woody that life inside a museum isn't living. Toys aren't meant to sit behind glass. They're meant to be played with, loved, held by a child. And this might be the moment Buzz truly becomes Woody's equal. Not just as a partner, but emotionally. By the end of the film, Buzz has fully become part of Andy's family. He rescues Woody, helps save Jessie, accepts Bullseye. And when Woody admits he's afraid of Andy growing up, Buzz answers him with the phrase that once represented fantasy, "To infinity and beyond." In the first movie, those words were about escape. Now they mean loyalty. By the time Toy Story 3 begins, Buzz isn't trying to figure out who he is anymore. Now he's trying to hold onto the life he already found. And that's what makes Toy Story 3 so emotional. Because this time, the toys aren't facing jealousy, identity crises, or rivalries. They're facing something much more terrifying. Growing up, Andy is 17 now. The room is quieter, the games are gone, and the toys slowly realize something they never wanted to admit. Their time with Andy is ending. But even then, Buzz still believes in him. When the others assume Andy threw them away, Buzz is the one trying to stay calm and logical. The toy who once thought only about his own mission now thinks entirely about his family.
New toys!
At first, Sunnyside Daycare looks perfect. Infinite playtime, new kids every day, no attic, no abandonment. But Buzz notices the truth almost immediately. The terrified toys hiding before the toddlers arrive, the chaos in the caterpillar room, the way Lotso controls everything from above. Unlike the first movie, Buzz no longer blindly trusts what he sees. And when Lotso offers Buzz a chance to escape alone, Buzz refuses instantly. Because now, friendship matters more to him than survival.
Unhand me!
Then Pixar does something cruelly smart. Buzz gets reset. Suddenly, the old delusional Space Ranger returns. The memories disappear, the friendships vanish, and Buzz once again believes he's fighting Emperor Zurg. But this time, the story feels completely different. Because now the audience knows who Buzz really is. We know how much growth is being erased in front of us. That's why Demo Buzz feels tragic instead of funny. It's Buzz reverting back to a version of himself he already outgrew. And ironically, the toys now have to save Buzz emotionally the same way Woody once saved him in the first film. Then comes Spanish Buzz. And beneath all the comedy, it reveals something surprisingly important. Even without his memories, Buzz still gravitates toward the same things: love, loyalty, and protecting others. Especially Jessie. No matter how many times Buzz gets reset, his heart still points him toward the same people. By this point, Buzz's personality isn't defined by programming anymore. It's defined by connection. And then, the incinerator scene happens. This is the moment that changed Toy Story forever. Because for the first time, the toys stopped trying to escape. No last-minute plan, no confident speeches, no miracle solution, just acceptance. Buzz looks at Jessie, takes her hand, then reaches for Woody. And without saying a word, everyone understands what's happening. They're going to die. What makes Buzz so important in this scene is that he becomes the emotional bridge between everyone. He reaches for Jessie, for Woody, for the others. And in that moment, Buzz understands something even bigger than loyalty. Sometimes being brave doesn't mean finding a way out. Sometimes it means facing the end together. After surviving the landfill, the toys finally return home. But home doesn't feel the same anymore, because Andy is leaving, and deep down, they all know this is goodbye. The handshake between Woody and Buzz says more than words ever could. These two started as rivals, then became partners, then brothers. Now they're preparing to let go of the life that defined them. And when Andy gives the toys away to Bonnie, Buzz doesn't fight it. Neither does Woody. Because by now, they finally understand something that once terrified them. A toy's purpose isn't to stay with one child forever. It's to be there for them while they need you.
Oh, hey, Buzz.
By the time Toy Story 4 begins, Buzz has already survived almost everything a toy could fear. Being replaced, being forgotten, losing his identity, saying goodbye to Andy. And that goodbye changed all of them. Because for the first time in the series, Buzz and Woody are no longer trying to hold on to the past. Now, they're trying to figure out who they are after it. That's what makes Toy Story 4 feel so different from the trilogy. Those movies were about growing up. This one is about moving on. One of the strangest parts of the film is how Buzz suddenly seems less confident than before. A lot of people saw this as Buzz acting dumber. But emotionally, there's actually something deeper happening. For most of his life, Buzz always had a mission: Star Command, Andy, saving Woody, protecting the family. But now, there's no clear direction anymore. And for maybe the first time, Buzz doesn't fully know what role he's supposed to play. That's why Woody's idea of an inner voice fascinates him so much. Buzz mistakes his voice box for a conscience.
It's a secret mission in a
Which is funny on the surface, but surprisingly meaningful underneath. Because Buzz has always relied on programming, rules, and instructions. Now he's trying to understand instinct, choice, emotion. And throughout the film, every time Buzz presses his buttons for guidance, he's really trying to learn how to trust himself. What makes Buzz's role in Toy Story 4 so important is that he quietly becomes the emotional support Woody once was for him. For years, Woody helped Buzz accept reality, taught him what being a toy meant, saved him from losing himself. Now, the roles reverse, because Woody is the one who feels lost. Bonnie barely plays with him anymore. Forky has become the center of attention, and Woody can't stop clinging to responsibility because responsibility is all he has left. Buzz notices this immediately. That's why he keeps checking on Woody, why he goes looking for him alone, why he keeps trying to help. Deep down, Buzz understands something Woody still can't accept. Woody already fulfilled his purpose, and that realization builds toward the ending. She'll be okay.
She'll be okay. Bonnie will be okay.
At first, Woody thinks Buzz means Bo Peep, but Buzz clarifies, Bonnie will be okay. That single line shows how much Buzz has grown since the first movie. The old Buzz couldn't even accept being a toy. Now he understands something even harder. Sometimes the people you love don't need you forever, and that's okay. The goodbye between Woody and Buzz works so well because neither of them tries to stop the other anymore. In the past, they always fought to stay together. Now they understand that love doesn't always mean holding on. Sometimes it means allowing someone to move forward, And when they hug goodbye, it feels like the ending of an entire lifetime together. Because it is. Buzz Lightyear's journey across the Toy Story saga is one of Pixar's most human stories. In the first movie, he learns he isn't who he thought he was. In the second, he learns why being loved matters. In the third, he learns how to face loss. And in the fourth, he learns how to let go. That's why Buzz became more than just a funny sci-fi toy. Because beneath the catchphrases, the wings, and the lasers, Buzz represents something deeply relatable. The search for purpose, the fear of becoming unnecessary, and eventually the understanding that life keeps changing, but the people we loved and the memories we shared with them will always remain part of who we are, to infinity and beyond.